Hello, everybody. This is Dissonant Waves coming back at you once again with episode 27. Meow, meow, meow. I'm Dominic. Trix and Ritalin are here, and we've got 2 albums and 2 EPs for you this week. We got Weekend Run Club and Two Door Cinema, their first debut EPs, Okay For You and 4 Words to Stand On. We got Something for Kate's Echolalia and Jelly of the Month Club introducing Jelly of the Month Club. That's real repetitious, but that's the artist and the album. How y'all doing this week?
I'm doing pretty good.
I don't want to go through this. We're going straight to Something for Kate. I got words to say to you too.
Okay, what's up?
How dare you not fucking love this?
Seasick put me to sleep.
It screams 2001 alternative.
And, like, some good albums have put me to sleep. Like, I've fallen asleep to American Idiot before. But Seasick was like, nah, all the way through, and I fell asleep.
I hope you realize one of the reasons that this screams 2001 alternative, especially in the Australian scene, is because this is one of the biggest albums in Australia of 2001.
I realize that, but it doesn't get outside of that alternative box, and it just is boring.
I don't think it's boring. I like the sound. I really like what they're going for. Not a lot of the songs really hit what I was into, though, if that makes sense. Like, I appreciated the effort.
You're both a degenerates.
Like, I liked it, but I couldn't tell you, like, many of the songs that I actually liked, because everything was kind of, like, just off the mark, or just, like... After a while, they kind of all ran together for some of them. Like, Monsters and Old Pictures and... Man-Made Horse
was like the only one that stuck out because I liked the intro riff. But that's about it.
I like Stunt Show. I thought that was cool. That was a cool song. Let's see. What are my notes saying?
There were some flaws of this album that, if you mentioned, I could kind of agree with. I think Jerry Stand Up kind of has some outdated views on depression, even if they are probably a bit more sarcastic or that. I don't know. I think. Yes, I don't disagree that there is a bit of repetitive of the sound without it experimenting too far. But if we're gonna go with some of the flaws about how this is 2001 alternative, I mean,
it's 2001. It's alternative.
That came out in 2000. It's 2001. It's alternative. What the fuck do you want?
Yeah. That's totally fine. And like I said, I don't hate it. Like, with Jerry Stand Up, for example, I thought the moodier opening and the moodier parts of that song were way better than, like, the chorus or, like, the main, like, part of that song. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why they felt they had to go back into that kind of alt sound when they had, like, a little more moodier thing going on. Like, what's the point of that, you know? Like, there's a contrast there, and it doesn't work.
And I disagree with this album kind of blending together.
Not all of it, just a few songs.
The ending, yeah, I think Seasick and White kind of bring a bit back together. But Man-Made Horse and Happy Endings, I agree, kind of blend in a bit with each other. But the rest of it is kind of all very distinct from itself.
Like, it's the classic
maybe
thing
you
of,
need
like,
more listens. Maybe it's because I've had so many listens of this, I can tell every song apart.
Pepe. It's like the classic thing of, like, okay, we got the hits, we know where those are, and we kind of got all the rest that's kind of put in there.
I'm gonna let you two just go through the album first before I go through it, because I just want to correct everything that you say.
All right.
Trixie, go ahead.
It opened kind of alright. I mean, it's a good opener, though. Whatever the intro song is, it escapes me right now.
Stunt Show.
If I can spell Echolalia right.
Well, it's just Echo and then Leah.
Just like Three Dimensions says. They talk all about Echolalia in that song.
Which I believe Echolalia is the kind of whole... it's based on repetition. I'll get the actual definition up there.
So it's intentional.
Like it's a medical thing about being. It's a sort of thing about, like, I know that people with Tourette's can have echolalia, and it's like they hear something and they have to repeat it, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, so echolalia is the unsolicited repetition of vocalizations made by another person. And this is a very good description here of an example. It says, if you ask the child, do you want a cookie? And the child says cookie instead of yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I lived with my ex faked having Tourette's, so I know a little bit about it.
Sounds fun.
That's dark in a different way.
Yeah, she also faked being colorblind and a whole bunch of other
Shall
stuff.
we not go into,
this.
Yeah, I was saying, let's not get into this on a podcast.
Yeah, this is...
We're not naming any names.
I haven't been able to see my therapist.
Look, we're going into the troubles with talking about your ex next week when we talk about Smith Street Band. For now, we're going on to something for Kate.
Well, to be fair, this is an emo
Paul
album.
Dempsey, Paul Dempsey and the bassist for this album, she joined the album before, are married, still to this day, I believe.
But Callum, this is an emo album.
I don't know if I call it emo, but I can see the comparisons to it. Don't get me wrong on that.
This is The Cure meets post grunge.
I feel like I get what you're saying. I feel like this is more closer to a Midwestern emo sound though than to the sound that defined the emo in the noughties. I don't think it's poppy enough for that.
It still has a very 90s feel. I'll give it that much.
Yeah. Which is, again, if you go back into a lot of those acts in the 90s that had that more Midwestern emo sound, like, I guess, listening to Jimmy Eat World back in the 90s, or trying to think of some other ones besides American football. I don't know which...
American football. I don't know, anything that...
I would happily call this Midwestern emo without the math rock.
Anytime I start to, like... The image of Chad Kroeger starts to creep into my mind a little bit, I'm a little apprehensive. That's what I was going to say to that.
And just picture that photo of me where I've just shaved everything except my chin.
Look, I'm saying if you got a Chad Kroeger vibe from this album, I think you might have been listening to the wrong album. I think you might have just been listening to Nickelback.
Not that it's like explicitly like Nickelback. It's just that I do not like early 2000s music very much, and post grunge has something that it can be right and the right thing. You know, I mean, grunge has a lot of that. Some of those sounds, like Nirvana has some of that edginess and grittiness that later became more relevant in like Foo Fighters and Nickelback and stuff like that. And it could be, when it's done right, it sounds great. But I get real apprehensive when we start going into those raspy voices and like those halfway to country-ish like sounds almost.
All right, so which song on here would you say had the biggest of being guilty of that?
The one I have written down is Monsters, where he has
fuck you. No, fuck you. Monsters is a fucking gem.
It's not a bad song, but it has some of that sound to it.
It's a fucking gem.
Okay.
You don't get to question it. You just don't get to question it.
This would be like if you guys shat on Petite League for me, so I'm getting it. I'm getting his pain a little bit.
I mean, I have other comparisons that I made throughout. Feeding the Birds is like REM and the Blue Oyster Cult put together somehow. That was interesting.
Honestly, I'm gonna say something
like that one,
maybe controversial here.
Sure.
Blue Oyster Cult is one of the most underrated rock bands.
That's probably why we covered them before.
I've never heard of Blue Oyster Cult. It's very.
I mean, like
underground band.
of the popular rock bands.
Of the dad rock.
Of the dad rock bands, Blue Oyster Cult is underrated.
Look, maybe this is an album that needs more listens to for the kind of tunes to more stick in your head and kind of sit with you. Maybe it won't ever happen for you. Maybe it kind of helps that this is an album where a lot of the songs were played on Australian radio and for so long and were just popular enough that they would just be played and I don't have to search around for them. So maybe it's a lot easier for me to get into this than you two, having probably heard zero of the songs.
And isn't like Paul Dempsey like a Australian sex icon or something? Because like you guys drag his corpse out and stuff.
He's not an Australian sex icon in a way that all Australians want to have sex with him.
Just you.
Yeah, just me.
Is
Just
that-
me and the bassist.
Is that number 33 on the list? People.
Look, I'm telling you, controversial opinion, but I think he's sexier than Jeff Mangum.
Okay. Jeff, Mitchell, or Paul Dempsey?
Are we playing Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Yes, we are now.
Oh, God.
Oh god, man.
There's a good chance one of them will hear this.
Yes,
Yeah.
there is.
Yeah. Make sure Mitchell's listening to this. This would be great. Look. The Mary goes to Paul Dempsey, because that's the one that I want him to want to spend the rest of my life, just him serenading me to sleep.
Okay.
Paul.
Well,
Now,
here's the
who
thing.
do I
You know that marriage doesn't necessarily mean fuck, right?
I don't care.
It can or it can't.
Did
Depends on the definition.
Did I just say that the reason I wanted to marry Paul Dempsey was because I would have sex with him every night, or that he would serenade me every night?
It could be a broken marriage. You never know, man.
Then that means he's got to come out with more songs about it, and it's going to be beautiful. So sticking with the Mary. Fucking kill, man. This is going to be controversial. Look. Part of me doesn't want to kill Mitchell, but if I kill Jeff Mangum, you get the rest of the internet against me. So do I kill the only person watching this?
That's a good question.
Oh fuck! I'm having an allergy attack right now, so this is extra funny for me.
apparently kill tricks. So. Oh fuck! It happened.
Don't die.
Okay.
Please.
Look, if we're going by voice alone, I feel sorry for it. I feel sorry, but it's probably kill Mitchell. I'm sorry, Mitchell.
I'm gonna
He's
throw
got a nice
on.
voice, but it's just not a Jeff Mangum voice.
I'm gonna throw on a variable here.
Okay.
In order to fuck Jeff Mangum, he'll let you do the sweet, sweet love. But in order for it to work, you have to listen to Orange Twin Works 3 times with him.
Well, what are they doing while listening to Orange Twin Works?
Enjoying wine and talking about it.
Oh, that's fine, because then it just gets playing in the background. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have to listen with headphones on directly to it. If I'm talking and drinking wine in that case, then that's fine.
Well, you're talking about Orange Twin Works with Jeff Mangum.
So
I mean-
if I say the wrong words, does he no longer sleep with me?
No, but you just have to listen to it 3 times with him.
That's so easy.
Yeah,
That's so easy.
Well, he said
if
he
I say-
hated it.
He just
Yeah,
tells
well,
you the
if I
whole
say
story
that-
about how he recorded it. That's it.
Yeah, and
Fair enough.
if you listen to it 3 times, and then I've only got it back in the background, and we're drinking wine,
That's an hour and a half.
it doesn't matter what I say. That's easy. I just gotta wait an hour, and then we're in the sack.
That's an hour and a half of Jeff Mangum describing recording an album.
Fair enough.
Now, if I could say the wrong, if I said the wrong words, and that would screw up the whole thing, then I would pick Mitchell. Because it would be hard for me to not go an hour and 30 minutes without saying, okay, this is kind of pretentious. So we're also taking everybody's sexual orientation and relationship status out of the picture here.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know about Mitchell's. You can post it in the comment section, I guess. But I don't know if we want our comment section to become personal.
Mitchell, looking for.
Looking for anyone but this fucking little kid.
See, I feel like the information is out there, and you could do the detective work if you want to, so I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a Facebook.
Also a Twitter.
Well, whilst I go studying people's sexual orientation, let's go back into something for Kate. Trix, what's the song that you had the most problem with?
It stuck out to me at first, but then the more I listened to it, the more I'm like, this is just Australian Nickelback.
Fuck you.
Was Old Pictures.
I mean, the photograph reference is right there.
It is, because I was just about to say, it starts off kind of with like that slow, kind of like clean guitar riff, then gets kind of heavier.
Look at this graph!
Look at this graph!
So I found Mitchell's sexual orientation. He is actually gay Luigi.
Yes. He mains Luigi in Smash. He's been on the regional circuits.
Yeah, that's pretty gay. Old Pictures, I think, is probably one of the more accessible songs on here, so I can get the kind of more Nickelback comparisons to it, because it is, I guess, a bit more pop rocky than most of all this.
I could hear the just like hatred coming out of your mouth when you said that. Just holding back vomit.
I mean, we're talking about post-grunge 2001. It's the same era.
Yeah. Him and Nickelback are contemporaries.
This is where music went after Nirvana died down. And, Radiohead and everything else became, alt icons. He couldn't take it, Trix. He couldn't take it.
I think this is the most mad we've got him.
Let's see, other things I can say. By the time we got to 20 years, I was kind of like, oh, this is like a Gen X thing. Like, this is not a millennial-oriented album, which makes sense. But, like, it kind of has the nihilism of, like, a Gen X, like, nothing matters, fuck everybody kind of thing.
Like, what would now be considered doomer.
Yeah. Like, early South Park or something.
Yeah.
Let's see. I did think the ending of White kind of brought it back a bit. There was some fun stuff going on. There was a bass I noticed for once. There was some cool drum stuff. It ended with Jingle Bells, which was weird.
I have come back with water, and I've had a bit of a think about it. I quit.
Oh God.
Fuck you two. Monsters is an incredible song. Thank you very much, Dominic.
I didn't say it wasn't.
It's a very incredible song. Paul Dempsey's talks about depression
I thought it was
actually done quite well.
I thought parts of it were very catchy.
He manages to express his isolation and his kind of feelings of just not connecting with anybody quite well.
Which I'm sure you understand right now, right?
Managing to personify his demons.
But the chorus of Monsters was interesting. I liked the references to being
Keep it coming.
locked
Keep it
out.
coming. No more criticisms. This is a perfect album.
Shut me
10 out
out.
of 10.
I did like when Say Something began, because Say Something had a little bit of different sound, and that was kind of refreshing. Although
nothing but compliments.
It did remind me of Say Something I'm Giving Up on You, and I was hoping he would say that, but he didn't. That was another Cure-like song, and they referenced Space Invaders, which is really cool. Like I said, very Gen X. The Gen X knows Space Invaders and Pac-Man, and that's about it. Well, Boomer's not Pac-Man 2, if Pac-Man Fever is anything to go by. But,
You ever just put an album into a podcast that you have enjoyed from growing up, has helped you through some dark times, and you think, hey, maybe 2 people will like it, and all they do is just pile on it?
are we piling on it? I don't think we
Yeah.
are.
I mean,
It
we
feels
dunked.
like it.
I mean, we dunked on fucking what's his name, Devin Townsend.
Yeah,
that was fun though. That was fun though, because I wasn't the one.
I dunked on Diarrhea Planet.
I didn't really grow
Um,
up with that album. The only album I really grew up with that I've done on here is Fire of Unknown Origin, and that one was pretty well received.
I dunked on Claypool Lennon, I think.
Yeah, well, that was kind of just up against the
Claypool
Middle
Lennon
East.
was great though.
Yeah, it was, but it was also up against the Middle East and
Neutral.
Nutrimilk Hotel. I think if I did that any other week, I would have won. Yeah.
Well, I did dunk on my own album when we did Crystal Castles, but we lost that episode, so nobody is ever going to hear it.
Yep.
Yeah. You did kind of dunk on
Wow.
what's her name, Tristan Gasparderic.
Tristan was just so forgettable. I did dunk on Love a lot.
Before we go back into dunking onto artists that we've done before, I'll go into an actual serious chat about this album, kind of describing it. So for those who haven't heard Something for Kate before, maybe they're not the freshest act these days to go into and say, oh boy, how have I never heard this before? This is incredible kind of stuff. It's stuff that you kind of really, I guess, had to grow up with to enjoy still to this day, and that's something I did. I grew up with this. This is an album, I think. I ended up finding it at a thrift shop for $2, and then I just kept playing it and playing it and playing it. It's still in my room somewhere. I think it's right over there. Yes, there it is. I like this album a lot. I think Paul Dempsey's vocals are probably the most unique thing about it. I just love his vocals. I think it's this kind of way. They sound very kind of hurt in a
Sure.
way. But it also sounds quite naturally like that as well, which I think is, it's quite an interesting vocal to hear. I admit that there were parts of this album, sometimes some of the lyrics aren't as hard hitting as they used to be or interesting, but I still think some of the songs that really stood out back in 2000, early 2000s, stand out today. I think 3 Dimensions, Monsters, Say Something, 20 Years, they really kind of stand out. I like Seasick. I think Seasick is a great song. I like the kind of more jangly guitar riff at the start of that.
Mm-hmm. I also noted that.
I would say the only song on here which I think doesn't hold up that much is probably You Only Hide, because it's very not in the same kind of flow as the album
it's
is.
not.
But the way that Stunt So kind of starts off with this very simple guitars playing, and it builds up, and then drops into 3 Dimensions, which is just, it's a straight up alternative track. There's nothing here that isn't a straight up alternative track, but if you're looking for an alternative fix, I think this is one of the best executed alternative albums from Australia in the noughties, full stop.
I think that's an important modifier in Australia.
I mean, there's been enough albums here which I put up to a high standard, which obviously you two haven't.
There's a lot of cool albums.
About it. I'll joke about it. If you two don't like it, you two don't like it. There's not really much that can actually be done about that.
It's better than Luca Brasi.
Yeah.
I'm not going to fight about that because I agree too. I mean, the Luca Brasi album was something that's it's not an incredible album. I think it's quite unique if you listen to only Australian punk.
Mm-hmm.
But when you actually listen to worldwide punk, you realize that it's taken a bit too much influence from the kind of American Midwest scene.
Worldwide punk.
Thanks, Pitbull.
That's
Mr. Worldwide.
That's an album name right there. Worldwide Punk. That's somebody's album.
That's a band.
I think the more that you kind of start to appreciate some of the individual songs in this album as well, the easier it becomes to get through to it. Because You Only Hide, I think, is an alright individual song, but it's still probably the one I rank the least on this album. But Stunt Show, besides that, from Stunt Show to Say Something, I think they're all incredible songs. Besides You Only Hide. And it has a slow ending. I don't deny that. This isn't an album that I'm going to put out as a 10 out of 10. If I probably gave a score to this album these days, I'd probably give it an 8. I think it's incredible. I think there's some stuff that obviously could be improved that they did in this. I mean, if we go back to their earlier album as well, which maybe one day I'll cover, it's a lot more of a lo-fi sound and a lot more garagey and kind of more unique, I think, but it also has a lot of the same problems that Echolalia has.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Echolalia was their most consistent. I do consider it their best album. I have a lot of love for some of these songs. I think, again, Monsters, I think, is just incredible. If you listen to the single version as well, which becomes a lot less heavy and it's a bit more stripped back as well, but it becomes a bit more passionate as well with it, and I think it's just that's really all I can say about this. If you don't like it, or like it as much as I do, that's just that, really. I think you're wrong, but you think I'm wrong about enough of stuff, so it's... yeah.
Fair enough.
Like I said, I didn't hate it. I thought it was interesting.
I didn't hate it either, but I didn't like it. It's kind of just a meh.
I like the sound, but could not find the song that really said what I liked about it, if that makes sense.
If there's something I can recommend you to do, though, it's search up Paul Dempsey or Something for Kate doing covers of other songs, because when they cover a song, it's just beautiful.
I mean, we've already had an example.
Yeah. You probably looked at a Something for Kate covering Sweet Nothing, because I've posted that a couple of times. There's also Paul Dempsey covering MGMT's Time to Pretend, which is done in this more kind of acoustic way. It was done like there's an album, kind of an EP I have there, which you can't get on Spotify, but like I think you can find the actual live clips on YouTube. And there was a CD that he put out for gigs as merch. That was just 4 covers that he did. I think I found that at a garage sale for like $1 or something. It's pretty fun. And he does his covers beautifully. The sound that you hear on this album is something that he can just nail live pretty much every time.
That's incredible. I'm glad for him.
That is impressive.
Other than that, that's pretty much all there is going to be to Something for Kate. I can't wait to fucking bag on Trix's choice, so I'm just going to say my favorite and my least favorite.
My choice is
we'll get there soon. Yeah, no, Monsters and 3 Dimensions are the best tracks off this album. Least favorite is You Only Hide.
My favorite's probably Stunt Show. Least favorite, I don't know, Man-Made Horse.
For me, let me pull up the track listing again because I'm blanking. For me, my favorite is probably Say Something. Least favorite is Old Pictures because of the Nickelbacky vibe to it.
All right, so your turn, Riddler.
Shelly, I just did mine.
Your turn for bagging on shit.
Yeah. Shelly at the Month Club has a really good start to it. I actually think that some of the tracks to start off this album are some incredible kids' music. I think it was written in a kind of somewhat funny way, like tell someone with the whole every time I eat my pudding,
Drink hot chocolate.
I get a red in my eye, and it says, as my professional opinion as a doctor, you got to take the spoon out.
And that
that's a very cheesy joke that I think it really fits. That's kind of funny. It made me kind of laugh a little with just how stupid it was. And that's kind of stuff that's perfect for kids. And the way this album starts is actually great. So why did it turn into a hot pile of shit?
Literally. Yeah. I don't know. Tell us.
From around the English language to Waffle Boogie, all of those songs could just get removed.
I thought English
If this-
language was pretty good.
If this was an EP from just a brand new friend to Welcome to the Carnival, I would have rated it as high. Probably not above Something for Kate still, but I would have still rated this high. But the 5 closing tracks of this are just, terrible. Especially Timmy Turtlehead. My god, that song fucking sucks. It's not funny. I don't know. Kids might enjoy that, but they wouldn't go back to it and say, like, a good kids album might not last as one of their favorite albums when they're fucking 18, but they might still be able to go back to it and say, hey, this was kind of fun as a kid.
Yeah.
Are we going to kid ourselves and say that Fruit Salad was not fun to sing as a kid?
I don't even know what fruit salad is.
It's Cockroach's song. It is still fun as fuck to sing with your drunk friends.
I'm gonna give you points for actually referring to them as the Cockroaches.
Is that a Wiggles song?
It's a Wiggle song.
Okay, I didn't listen to the Wiggles, so fuck off.
No, I have not heard of much Americans to refer to them as the Cockroaches.
Yeah, I read the Wikipedia page a while ago.
Yeah. But, yeah, when we grew up, we listened to the Wiggles. And a lot of those early songs are kind of still funny to think back on. You actually see a lot of, they had a gig at the local RSL, during the bushfire stuff. We tried to get tickets, unfortunately we couldn't, but apparently how they play it is they play it like the whole audience is kids, even though it's full of 50-year-olds.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And everyone just has a blast. Unfortunately, one of them had a heart attack on stage, so that
Oh,
had
shit.
a blast.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I know. We went a bit
Isn't
dark
the
there, but
only one that got left?
it was... Who was it? I think it was the original Jeff or something.
Ah.
Because this was the original line. Yeah, this was the original
it was
lineup.
the original lineup. It's not like
Yeah.
where they got the female Wiggle now.
No.
So they had to stop the set, I'm guessing?
It was after the set it happened.
Oh, so as soon as
they
they
stopped
ended?
playing it, they must have run out of adrenaline and just had a heart attack.
Jesus.
But going back now into something less dark, look, I think, like I said, if it was just the first 6 songs, I think it's quite interesting what this album is. I think, again, you have members of Sublime in here.
Yeah.
I would have never thought that a band who had a bit of
Had a
fame
song
for their
Date Rape.
plus their singer died from an overdose.
Yeah.
You
That's why it's
wouldn't
Sublime
think
with a
you wouldn't
Rona.
think they would go play in a kids band, and especially a kids band that's kind of this unknown, because they don't really have much plays on Spotify or anything. Which
No.
you would
they-
assume
they
that
only have, like,
you wouldn't assume they'll be worldwide famous, but you would assume that they'll still have a bit more success than it did. And I'm actually very surprised that about what the most popular song on Spotify here is. And maybe it is because a bunch of kids are listening to it and they think, it's funny right now, but I guarantee most of them, when they grow up and go back to it and just as a joke or something, would just be annoyed by it. Is Timmy Turtlehead.
I was surprised by that too, especially because the last minute of it is the worst thing.
Yeah, there's just 20 seconds of farts.
It's like 30 seconds.
But I want to say that I think that it's only the last 2 songs are the weakest ones. I like the first 3 of that last 5.
I like English language, and I kind of like Gone Squatchin'. I don't know. But it kind of like...
Not Squatch and I like just because I like Bigfoot.
My peak, though... My peak, though, was Welcome to the
Go.
Carnival, for sure.
Yeah, that one's like out of left field stylistically.
See, like, this is the thing, though, of, like, you have all these people come together, so people from Sublime, his name is Mr. Crumb, people from the Ziggins or something.
Yeah, you've got
All these other acts, and they come together and they make this album that's for kids, but it's got all these different genres and all this different, exuberant energy. You got like a ska song, you got a punk song, you got a bluegrass song, you got like a...
Yeah, I'm just going back to Welcome to the Carnival just to kind of get a bit of a refresher quickly on that. No, I'll stand by that. It's probably one of the better ones on here. It's not one of the greatest ones, but it's better than the remaining songs that follow it. I think that kind of out of field left style and that kind of carnival vibe. I don't particularly enjoy it, but I think it's great at what it does.
But what I'm trying to say though is that you got all these songs, all these different styles, and it's like they just kind of hide. Oh, it's for kids. You know, got to make this approachable for kids. They want to do this for kids. Like, why can't bands just do this kind of stuff with their regular music? Why do they have to like channel it for kids to become this creative and like do this many different things?
I think it was the Australian band Regurgitator did an album quite recently in which they had pretty much they did one, I swear, that was for kids. I don't know if they did it under Regurgitated. I'm gonna search it up. And I think it's also Best Coast who re-recorded all their songs for kids.
But not even that. What I'm more saying is like, why can't, you know, a band like, I'll have to look a band up real quick. Why can't like Huey Lewis and the News go and be like, hey, we're gonna make a bluegrass song, we're gonna make a ska song, we're gonna make a punk song, we're gonna do all this stuff.
Yeah. So for the 10th album that Regurgitator put out, it was called Regurgitator's. They were credited as Regurgitator's Pogo Go show, and it's called the Really, 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 Really Boring Album. It ended up getting nominated for an ARIA Award for Best Children's Album.
That's hilarious.
And this was a band that their first hit was "I sucked a lot of cock to get where I am."
It would be like if Cannibal Corpse recorded
that song tried to get banned from radio play by Alan Jones, who was a famously gay radio presenter. And if you're about to feel sorry for Alan Jones, just remember this is the person that claimed that Scott Morrison should stick a sock down Jacinta Ardern's throat.
I don't know who these people are, but sure.
Jacinta Ardern's the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Scott Morrison's the Prime Minister of Australia, and Alan Jones is a misogynistic cunt.
Gotcha.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You should search up Alan Jones one day, just check out all the controversies, and then now just realize the only reason he's gone off radio is because he just retired last week from health issues. Yeah, we allowed that fucker on air.
Well, maybe Alex Jones will follow at one time or another.
You'd think so, but nah.
Him and Rush, just get off the radio.
Well, we want Rush on the radio, but not like the real Rush.
No, I mean, yeah, Rush Limbaugh get off the radio, not Rush the band. Yeah, they can stay.
Yeah, not Rush Limbaugh, Rush the band. We want.
Oh yeah, going also back onto Regurgitator for the weirdest of during a kids film, kids album. Sorry, their biggest radio hit was the song. It's not the most played song on Spotify or their most famous song, but their biggest radio hit was a song called "Polyester Girl," which is about a sex doll.
Okay.
So it's kind of weird that like last year that they said fucking put out a kids album.
Honestly, I really dig it. If I'm gonna be completely honest, I think more artists should just be like willing to be like, let's just put out a kids album. Fuck it.
I think that's great, but I guess my question was more about like, why do you need to have a kids album to be this spontaneous and have this many different genre hopping songs?
I feel like because this is an introduction album. I feel like they're like, we haven't really found what we want our theme to be, so we're just gonna throw anything at the wall and see what sticks.
That's fair, I guess.
Their second album is all lullaby.
It's all lullabies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think also, when kind of talking about the kind of creation of that, I feel like if you don't intentionally make a kids album, then you end up kind of making something that's just not meant for kids.
Probably.
Especially, again, if you have members from bands like Sublime.
Yeah.
Who's, if you go into every song about it, it's either about rape, close to rape, or murder. Or drugs.
Or all three.
You know, that's... Yeah, at the same time. Oh no, I think Santeria might just be about predicting the future, am I right? Alright, am I right?
God damn it.
I only listened to the first two lines.
But, yeah, I think it's real fun. They're just musicians having fun, which I can appreciate. And I think they set out to put out a kids album because the two Sublime members, they initially wrote the Brand New Friend. And they're like, oh, we got something here. What can we do with this? And they just kind of pitched it around to their friends, and it just kind of grew legs and turned into Jelly of the Month Club.
The thing that's funny, though, is that A Brand New Friend is just like a plot summary, almost, of Princess and the Frog. Except without the princess stuff. You got the frog, you got the firefly, you got the alligator, and they're all meeting up in like the New Orleans type of sound. It's just that movie in a song.
Yeah, and they're upfront about it because they wrote it because they watched Princess and the Frog like 100 times with their kids.
Yeah, so there you go. But like, there's a lot of creativity there. I don't know. Like, I'm glad that they made it for kids, but I'm just like, why? Like, where's the adult album that goes for like the New Orleans sound and it goes for like the bluegrass sound, but then also diverts the ska and somehow makes a lot of it work?
I'm sure you can find it.
I'm sure. I mean, I don't mean to sound bitter and old, which I probably do, but it's like I just don't want people to hide like behind the kid genre moniker just to experiment like this.
Fair enough. I feel like I've said fair enough a lot today.
Well, welcome to the carnival.
Okay, specific question for Ritalin. How bothered did you get when during the girlfriend song they referred to Australia as Down Under?
Not that bothered.
Fair enough.
That whole section was weird, though.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Everyone refers to Australia as Down Under, and it's kind of really shitty way to just stop bothering us. We should stop caring.
I mean, didn't Men at Work kind of make it their own at that point and rebrand it?
Yeah, I mean, Down Under by Men at Work is completely sung in a completely different way to many people, to the way that many people say Down Under.
Mm-hmm.
Men at Work's Down Under is pretty much a shit post if you look at it.
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
You look at the music video, look at that. They're obviously not taking the whole thing seriously. That's the kind. Like, they're literally bashing beer cans at the start.
Yeah. Got the Australian
that's
shit post energy that only Australians seem to get.
Men at Work's Down Under is a classic, just of how, like, I say how stupid it is, not because, like, of how stupid it's a bad song or anything, but the whole thing's, like, crazily, like, kind of just stupidly simple or, like, stupidly fun.
No, let me ask a question. This could go to either of you, but probably Riddle can answer this especially. If they cut out the last parts of Timmy, Turtlehead, and Waffle Boogie, would you have liked this album a lot more?
Yeah.
Nah, those songs are still pretty crap themselves.
Because I don't mind a song that's just about wanting waffles. Like, yeah, it's very kiddish. It's not the
Waffle
worst
Boogie
thing.
is the best out of the bad songs, but it's still a bad song.
But when they get into chipmunk mode, and especially when they go through a bunch of different shit, just to be like, well, we need to find, something to end it or whatever. It's like, fuck off. Especially when they go back to the fart sounds, and they're like, no, we've done that already. We have a fart song. It's like, yeah, it's bad. Why do it?
So I've just been going through Mitchell's Twitter for like this whole thing, and he says some stuff that I'm not quite sure if, like, I feel like he's trying to be a bit funny here, but coronavirus, your mum's a hoe. Sorry, it just doesn't hit.
I have to find
Sorry,
this
Mitchell.
now. I have to find this now.
I'll give him Free Bowling by Tom Petty. I'll give him that one.
Free bowling.
Blunt Force Kindness.
Oh shit, my legs fell asleep.
Let's see.
So, I don't know, to put it simply with this album, if it was an EP, even, like, you can give or take Welcome to the Carnival, it doesn't really matter too much. But if it was, like, just the first 5 or 6 songs, I would rate this a lot higher, but it's not. It keeps going, and it becomes very annoying as it ends, and I just remember the first time listening to it, getting into the end, and my head just hurt. I was pissed. I didn't want to finish it. I stuck through the end, and I regret having finished it. And I'm probably never going to go back to this album again.
That's fair.
I'll probably put it on at some point again.
I know this isn't directed at me. I know it's not targeted for me, seeming as I'm around 20 years outside of the target age demographic.
Oh, actually, it's supposed to be aimed at boys 7 to 13. I fit one of those demographics.
I mean,
I don't fit any of them.
This is... Yeah, I'm kind of already done talking about it. There's some funny stuff at the start, but it's just annoying. It's just a headache.
Wait,
hold up. In the fun way.
Does anyone remember when we recorded the Sonic Adventure 2 episode?
Yeah.
Classic time.
About what day was that, do you think?
It was Saturday night.
It's Sunday for me.
Like,
you know what?
Was it early April?
Hold on.
Yeah.
April, it would have been around April 20th.
Something like that, yeah.
Mitchell, April 2nd. Can somebody lend me Sonic Adventure 2 Battle for GameCube? That's a Twitter. That's a tweet.
Well, if he wants to come over, I have a copy.
I also have a copy.
I'll pay for PlayStation Now again.
I'm just going back to the 1, 2, 3. It was 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, so about a month.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it would have been around the 18th or 19th.
Well, that's the end of Jelly the Month Club. Let's go on. Who wants to go club hopping?
Hold on. Best song off it is Tell Someone, closely followed by Lemonade Standoff. I thought that one was alright as well. Worst song on this, and I want this to be played in Guantanamo Bay torture chambers.
Is it the worst song you've listened to on this podcast?
I know it's a bold call, but I'm picking towards a yes on that.
It is worse than anything on LSD. It is worse than anything on Love.
Worse than anything on Love, I'll definitely say on that. I don't know if I consider it worse than LSD's Genius.
Well, I will listen to Genius over this anytime.
Yeah, I'm tending to pick towards yes on that. I think Timmy Turtlehead's probably the worst song we've ever listened to on this podcast.
That's amazing. I love it.
So do I. I unintentionally picked the worst song we've ever done.
It's not the worst album. I would still pick this album over LSD and Love.
Oh, because there's plenty of high points on this album.
Yeah, the opening half saves it, but the second half has to, like, ow. Yeah, nah, this I'd still consider this a bad album just because of how it ends. And I don't think the songs that start off are good enough to carry how bad it ends. There's still some flaws I have with the opening parts. I think some of them get a bit drag on for a bit too long.
Yeah.
This probably doesn't need to be a 35-minute album. This probably could have been shorter than that, and it still would have been fine. Or they could have just done some other stuff to replace it. But knowing what they ended up coming up with at the end, maybe they shouldn't have done more stuff.
Yeah, so yeah, I'll go on my favorites. Brand New Friend, all its purposes. It starts off real well. Lemonade Standoff is a fun song. I think Welcome to the Carnival is the absolute peak because Cucina is like also probably a step above those other songs. Tell Someone's really good, but Welcome to the Carnival and Cucina are probably my favorites. And then it just continues downward and downward and downward until we get to Timmy Turtlehead, and it's the worst thing. And Waffle Boogie tries to redeem itself, but it just does not.
Doesn't.
Those are the two worst.
before I get on to my rankings, I do want to mention that if you listen to it, there are a lot of jokes that will fly over the head of your average kid.
Yeah, I want to just before you say your favorite, least favorite. I do want to give praise that it's trying to make jokes that are more adult orientated without having to make them sexual for no reason.
Yes.
Yeah, like the Crosby, Stills, and Nash joke back when they had Young. I thought that one was pretty cute. For some reason, they mentioned Joseph Stalin's Cadillac.
And then General Pinochet's Cadillac, and LBJ's Cadillac.
Yeah, I don't get that, but okay.
Cadillac's on the brain.
Yeah, and the whole Sublime, or Eliminated Sublime. I thought that was a really nice nod the first time I listened to it.
And they didn't add with rum or with Rome for a dumb extra joke.
That would have been too obvious, I think. But yeah, and I think that Gone Squatchin' is a pretty good song, as is the English language. If you check out their YouTube channel, on like every song they have in the description, they have like a little bit of like a blurb of why or how they wrote it, and the English language was like them trying to like channel the Clash, I think they said.
Yeah, and I get that, but it also sounds like a parody of pop punk at the same time.
Yeah, and I mean it works on two levels at that point, I guess then. But yeah, I'm gonna rate this album a little bit higher than I think you guys are.
Probably.
But I found this album by accident, and yeah, favorite song. I'm gonna have to go with "Tell Someone." Just it's goofy, fun. It's a Police type song. They even like mentioned fucking Stuart Copeland, the drummer for the Police.
The most famous member, of course.
Yeah, not Sting. What's his fucks? The guitar player, who I know, and he's escaping me right now. But
let him go. And then, set him free.
Then obviously, least favorite is Timmy Turtlehead.
All right. So who wants to go club hopping now? You get 2 more bars to hit.
Andy Summers, that's a guitar player.
So, we want to know what the last 2 ones are, the Two Door Cinema Club and the Weekend Run Club. I feel like it's hard to rank the Two Door Cinema Club one because it's just demos of songs off Tourist History plus 2 kind of B-sides to that. And, I mean, if you've ever listened to Tourist History, it's one of the best indie rock albums of the 2010s.
I mean, you can look at it like that, but keep in mind, like, 4 Words of Sandown was released as an EP by itself. Like, that was their first thing. It wasn't. I don't know if it was meant to be, just demos and whatnot. Like, that was their beginning. And, like, the whole point of this is to talk about, Weekend Run Club and their beginnings, Tudor Cinema and obvious influence in their beginnings.
Look, both of you kind of have forgotten Last Dinosaurs when we covered that. So, Dominic, if you're just going to go ahead and just remember this EP but forget Last Dinosaurs, then I'm just going to leave and scream, because this is Last Dinosaurs.
I mean, I'll have to listen to them again, but I heard a lot of Two Door Cinema. Like,
I heard some Two Door Cinema Club in there as well, but there is a lot of Last Dinosaurs in this.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the Last Dinosaurs in Zoo much. So that was why I was a bit confused when they talked about Last Dinosaurs as an inspiration.
Yeah.
But in here, I hear it a lot, especially in the opening songs.
I mean, things aside,
I don't hate this EP. I like this EP, actually. I like Last Dinosaur, so it's no surprise that I like this EP, but I still want to mention that there was definitely a huge problem with its wearing its influence a bit too showcasey.
See, I would
on its sleeve.
I would agree, but not with a different song. Holiday is just Anna sung by Walk the Moon.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, it's almost the same song with different lyrics. And that's fine, but like that is where you wear your influence a little too much on the sleeve. Like, maybe it's because I haven't listened to enough Last Dinosaurs. The album that we listened to is like the 2nd episode or something like that.
And it's a fantastic indie rock record. You should listen to it more.
And I didn't like it as much then, and I Haven't listened to it much since.
Same here.
And like this is the thing of like
why am I on a podcast with you two?
Dissonant Waves. You like different things, man. This is the same thing with Slift versus King Gizzard.
Yeah.
Okay, but like Slift was just French King Gizzard.
And this is American Last Dinosaurs, according to you.
Yeah. Look, I say if you go back to listen to Slift and King Gizzard in comparison, King Gizzard beats them by a mile.
I still like the Slift album more than any of the King Gizzard albums we listened to.
Yeah.
You're just wrong.
I will gladly be wrong if that's how I feel.
Yeah, I think you might just have a little bit too much national pride.
Look, I might be a white nationalist, but that's...
Why am I on this podcast again? Look, I'm the one that should be like overly defensive here. I know Mitchell. I love this music. I think, like, spoilers, I think Weekend Road Club is probably my favorite of the week, again. But I am also super biased.
There, Dominic.
I'm obviously not going to agree with you, but that's just because I love Something to Kate. I don't know if I even put this above the Two Door Cinema Club EP.
See, that's the thing. I
think I have them kind of tied, to be honest.
They are kind of tied. It's just that Two Door Cinema Club is a little bit more polished, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, one day we'll actually cover Tourist history, and like I said, that's one of the greatest indie rock albums of the 2010s. Unfortunately, it's probably only Two Door Cinema Club's really good album, but you know, you take what you get.
And like the thing is, I really like what's his name's voice?
Mentals?
Alex Trimble's from Two Door Cinema. I really like his voice, but I also really like Mitch's voice. And like when you compare like Cigarettes in the Theater and like, you know, something off of OK For You, like 101 or Heartbreak or something, like they have a similar sound. It's like so similar. And then like it's just the voices that are pretty much the defining feature, really. Like, do you want to go with a little bit of a higher voice that kind of emulates like Owl City, Never Shout Never kind of thing, or do you want to go with like Mitchell's really unique and interesting voice? You know what I mean? They're two different feels, even though the songs are similar.
It's like, this is gonna sound like a weird comparison, but stay with me. It's like two different types of mustard on the same dish.
Okay, sure.
Yep.
Like this was a conversation I was having with some friends earlier. Like if you incorporate like a spicy brown like mustard and like a yellow mustard, like a traditional yellow American mustard, the dish is gonna end up tasting entirely different. And that's like sort of the thing with like with Mitchell's voice and Two Door Cinema Club's singer's voice, whose name escapes me.
Alex Trimble.
Because I didn't look it up. Yeah, Alex's voice. They're different condiments on kind of like the same base ingredient.
And like Two Door Cinema, this debut has the benefit of like kind of sounding like the general sound of that time. Like it's different and unique, but it kind of fits within that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, OK For You benefits from being in the hinterlands of indie stuff where anything is possible and you can release whatever you want now.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to follow that except for you know, Holiday, which sounds like Anna's Son, but other than that, like divorce from
all of that conversation, but
oh, you did?
Yeah. Sorry, I was a bit muted there for a second.
Okay, but ignore Torres history exists for a moment.
Yeah, I can.
I have never listened to Tourist History. I'm going to be honest. So that's
I have not either.
Normally.
I have not either. I picked this because Riddle and you said they sounded so much alike. I was very curious.
If I ignore Tourist History and I just say I take not knowing those original songs, like those original demos on here and stuff like that, they're still great songs. I mean, Cigarettes in the Theater is one of the most underrated Two Door Cinema Club's songs out there, so if I just ignore the Tourist History exists and I'm just listening to the demo, I mean, yeah, it's not as great as the Tourist History version, but it's still Cigarettes in the Theater.
Right.
Same with Undercover Martin. And the Two-Door, I mean, if I ignore Tourist History, then Two-Door Cinema Club is just better than Weekend Run Club, by far.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So you think
That's
so you think
really all there is.
so you
to
think
it.
4 words is better than Okay for You?
Yes.
You did say they were tied like 5 minutes ago. So I'm
I
just
said they were
double checking.
tied. I said they were tied because and that's with the context of Tourist History. If you
Okay.
ever think just without the context of Tourist History that 4 words is better than Okay for You, I say yes. With the context, knowing that it's just original demos of this, which doesn't interest me as much as that anymar, then I say
Interesting.
they're around tied.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Because they're still good songs. I still love the demos of this.
Interesting. I don't know if I quite understand that, but sure. Okay. I mean, it's the same songs. I am not listening to Torres History myself. I just have these songs. You know what I mean? So.
Well, if for you two who haven't listened to Tourist History, then this is your first time probably listening to Cigarettes in the Feet or Do You Want It All?
Yeah.
I'm not going to assume it's your first time listening to Undercover Martin. That's become a TikTok meme.
It's my first time
very
listening to
cringy
Undercover
one,
Martin.
First time listening to that too. I do not even touch TikTok.
Yeah, you don't have to. Do yourself a favor and don't search the TikTok meme of it because they just want to ruin the song.
I'm doing that right now. I hope you know.
I'm not because I don't care enough. But I
think the songs on here that I hadn't heard before, with New Houses and Standing on Ghosts, are interesting enough to kind of carry the fact that they're just demos on here as well. I prefer Tourist History. I think this is the tie with Okay for You. I like Okay for You. I think there's some great moments on here. I think Holiday is probably the most overrated of the Weekend Run Club songs now, assuming as that's really the only one with listens. But going more into their discography, I think I prefer Parking Lots and Play Nice.
I really like 101. Go ahead.
I think Parking Lots was my favorite off the album.
I love 101 so much. I don't know, like, it's just like it's the longest song. It's the most complete song to me. I really thought the things they were doing in that song were really interesting with the bridge and the construction of it.
It's got a lot of like math rock guitar on it, which is like a weird, like it's a weird description, but like I mean like the guitar tone, like it's very jangly, spanky, telly.
Sure.
Which I associate a lot with math rock.
But isn't that also Parking Lots?
Less. I noticed it more on 101 than Parking Lot.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I really enjoy that guitar tone.
I mean, Heartbreak has been in my head a lot this week. I'll say that much. It's super catchy. Really, my only problem with Parking Lot is that I feel like that's where the lyrics kind of take a dip a little bit, and it becomes a little bit more noticeable.
Serotonin, something my fucking.
Table periodically, something.
It's science, just science shit.
Math rock, science rock.
Yeah.
Bill.
Also, supported by it's still only Ritalin for kids.
Oh yeah, it's at favorite track. All my friends are
on
dead.
Zoo. I'm gonna see if I can leave something. It's just include a message, right?
Are you all on the Zoo's Bandcamp page again?
I'm on Zoom's Bandcamp page right now.
Well, it should say supported by Ritalin for Kids. And my message, Dominic ain't dead. Favorite track, all my friends are dead.
God, come back to this.
Because I was navigating there to get to Okay for You.
I mean, it's an indie EP. This doesn't impress me as much as Zoo did. I think, granted, having listened to Zoo, having not heard of this band whatsoever, kind of helps with that.
Mm-hmm. I
don't think anything on here is better than any of the songs in Zoo.
Yeah, Zoo is definitely like Okay for You walked so that Zoo could run.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think Okay for You is bad though. Zoo is just a lot better.
I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's bad either. I agree.
It's not
Zoo's
bad
just
either,
better.
but Zoo is just so much better.
like
It's, I was gonna say, yeah, Zoo at least works with its influences to try and start to find more of a unique sound, whilst OK for You is just its influences.
Yeah.
like to bring my own context to this a little bit. Since Zoo happened on this podcast, I have shown you the local acts that I've known before Weekend Run Club.
Yeah, I was gonna
the-
go put a Cardinal Heart reference in my EP, but then I just couldn't find a way to get it in without being too much of a dick to either you or Cardinal Heart.
I mean, you could
I think your EP is going to do better than Cardinal Heart's EP.
shit, dog.
Is my song approved on Triple J on Earth yet? I don't know.
But yeah, the Cardinal Heart stuff, like some of the other stuff that I've shown you.
They're the best band to come out of your area.
Weekend Run Club, absolutely, without a doubt. As someone who has been to so many garage shows over the last 10 years or more.
There is nothing in my area, or I would share it with you.
You just gotta find it.
Oh, dude, I've been searching. It's all just blues dads.
No, I just want to say though, I think it's incredible that only one of us on this podcast has a song written about him.
Well, when the EPs are done, that'll probably change.
Well, does a song that isn't written about me, but I think but like I relate to it really hard count? Like,
No.
No.
No, it has to be written about. Yeah.
damn.
Like you literally have to be.
Do you want to go mentioning the song title for us, please?
Okay, I had to find it because I have to say it the right way.
It's why do creepy guys message me on the internet?
No, it's why do awkward guys ask me out over the internet?
There's an important word difference there. Thank you, Trix.
Yeah. You're not creepy, Dominic. You're just awkward.
I'm flying off the dome, okay?
This is why I wanted to look it up because I didn't fly off the
And,
dome.
like, I just love the lyrics here, Dominic. Ask me out on Facebook. Is this what you've come to? It's like, I mean, I'm not even going to put it as a harsh into you. I just like this whole idea. Like the worst, like rock bottom is when you ask someone out over Facebook when you're a teenager. That's rock bottom.
In my defense, I asked him out over text.
Fair enough.
No,
I
I'm
just
not
think-
going with you for this. I think it's like weird to consider a teenager asking someone out over text as rock bottom, like this song does.
I would agree with you.
I think he might just be anti-phone. Phones are bad.
I think he might just be a dick.
You know, and honestly, you know, you have to ask people out in person. It's the right thing to do. You know, it's more upfront and honest with your feelings. You know, never mind that you have social anxiety and feel really anxious talking to anyone you might like or anything like that. Fuck that. You got to talk to them in person, even if it's really painful.
Pretty much admitted we liked each other over Discord voice chat, so we can't judge anyone.
I mean, I met my ex on Tinder.
No, I'm judging you. Fucking Tinder.
It was the second ever fucking date I got from a Tinder match. I'm gonna be honest.
We've all been there. Well, two of us have been there. Oh, my Tinder dates have been awful though. Or not Tinder though. It's been like Grindr or OkCupid though.
Never used a dating app. Never used a dating app. Never used a dating app. Never used.
Well, you're attractive.
Yeah, you got that twink energy.
I don't know how to react to that, but I feel complimented.
This has just been a roller coaster for Ritalin, I think.
And also me.
I feel like I'm probably the most aggressive trink, though.
Sure. Real talk.
I'm not aggressive enough to be a bear.
In the future,
So,
should I go with Cardinal Heart in the future as a pick?
Oh God, no! I don't want to listen to any more of that shit.
No.
All right.
No,
so,
that's an April Fool's pick.
all right. We'll wait a whole year.
Nah. So anytime now I listen to I Saw Water, I can only just think of them just playing it in the back of their car, and I cry just how bad it was.
It was so bad.
I saw water strums.
There's just a guy sitting there and like not doing anything, like the drummer.
He was doing like this.
He had the tambourine. And wasn't he like one of the singers? They were doing like a harmony thing.
I don't know.
Anyway,
I think I drank to forget that.
yeah. Let's
Anyway, in the context of my local scene, Weekend Run Club is like the fucking second coming of Christ or something.
Oh, it is.
Like, it is a band that can go places and has a lot of potential. And I think OK For You even shows that potential. Like, you know, my problems with stuff like Holiday aside, that EP, Zoo even more, has so much
all
going
I want
for
them
it.
to do is after Corona is to perform in Australia, and I will hold up a sign that says, "Hi, I'm Dominic." That's my goal.
I just as an aside, I just remembered one person who came from my local scene who made it big, and who I might cover in the future, and he is the epitome of blues dad.
Okay.
Smoking Joe Bonamassa.
You know, actually, Callum, I have something to say to you.
What?
Callum, you stole my heart. But more importantly, my bagel bites.
Yeah. That was... It tried so hard.
Oh god, what's happening?
I love that title because it tries so hard to be a Midwestern emo style title, and it fails at just even being a title.
It becomes Naperville centric because holy shit, that's a very fucking local thing to say.
You know what? It could have easily have been salvaged if they didn't just try and like extend the title to as long as it is. It could have easily been "You Stole My Heart and My Bagel Bites," and it would have been better. But they had to put in a comma, extend it, and say, "But I don't care about the heart. You stole my bagel bites. Ha ha ha. That's all laugh."
Random
But it could have
raw
just easily
XD.
have just thrown. They could have easily have just thrown bagel bites in there as well, and it could have sounded a bit more passive aggressive and actually been a better title. But no, they had to make this random "look, I'm fucking funny" style title, and it's fucking hell.
Oh my god.
Why do older guys ask me out over the internet? Because of this.
Some people, I don't know. Some people think that they're legitimately like creating a funny title, but they're just not.
I'm sure we've done it before.
We've made very stupid titles.
Yeah, we err on the side of we don't take ourselves seriously though. That's the thing.
Dom Anatrix.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Irony by Cardinal Heart. That was a good title.
Oh, that was that 20-second song that made me want to kill myself, wasn't it? Oh, that's just bad. Yeah. Alright, well, now that we're talking about Cardinal Heart, I just want to say favourite songs off here.
Sure.
Yeah, probably still Undercover Martin. It's probably the best out of the two EPs, but I'm going to give it to Play Nice from the Weekend Round Club as well for their best one. Least favourite is probably Holiday off their EP, and probably Do You Want It All demo. I think the re-recorded version that was happening on their debut is just so much better. Yep.
Tricks, go ahead before you die.
Okay, so we're going to Tudor Cinema Club first?
If you want, sure.
Alright. Hold on, let me just... I'll try and unlock my fucking phone. What the... Okay, there we go. Tudor Cinema Club. Standing at Ghosts, I gotta say, was my least favorite. It didn't get to me like as much as some of the other ones, and I really enjoyed New Houses. The two original songs of them are one stuck to the CP, but New Houses I quite enjoyed. I'll say that, and Standing on Ghosts I didn't quite enjoy as much. And for Weekend Run Club, my favorite, as I already said, was the
Parking lots.
parking lots. I am a mess right now. Sorry. And this one's gonna be harder to pick a least favorite because they're all kind of equal.
Yeah.
So, 101, I guess. But that's just like it's. I still like it, but it's just like slightly below everything else.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So for me then, my least favorite for Two Door, probably New Houses. Like I like both Two Doors EP and Weekend Run Club's EP about the same. I like all the songs about the same. Like picking a best and least favorite is just pretty much satisfying the format of the show. But New Houses probably because that's the one I remember the least. Best songs probably Cigarettes in the Theater or Standing on Ghosts. I really like his Alex's voice in Standing on Ghosts. I thought it was a little bit different, a little bit more interesting. For me, on Weekend Run Club, I really like 101. 101's a song I can put on repeat like 16 times or something like that. And just listen to it over and over and over. I also really like Heartbreak. Heartbreak is super catchy. Like, holy shit, is it catchy. Play Nice might be my least favorite. Just it's the one I don't like as much as the others, but I still like it a lot. And then like Holiday is Anna's Son, so you take it or leave it, I guess. Are you okay?
All right, so
Yeah, I'm just yawning.
quickly.
Sorry.
We're gonna go back to Cardinal Heart, but I want to end this episode with Cardinal Heart ripping on. So I'm going to quickly just say the how I rank these albums. Number 4 is Jelly of the Month Club. Number 3, I'm going to put as Weekend Run Club, but only barely. Two Door Cinema Club is number 2, and number 1 is Something for Kate Echolalia. I know you two don't agree with that, but it's just good enough personal resonance with me if you put it as number 1.
All right, I guess for me, like I said before, there are 2 tiers here, and tier 1 is Two Door Cinema Club and Weekend Run Club's EPs, and then tier 2 is Echolalia and Introducing Jelly of the Month Club, and like you could kind of rearrange them depending on the day, but I think right now it's more of a question of like, do I dislike the ending of Jelly of the Month Club more, or do I dislike the slow and weak parts of Echolalia more? I think right now, even though I don't hate any of the albums, Something for Kate might be number 4, Jelly of the Month might be number 3. That could change very quickly though. 2 could be...
I feel like, I'm just going to say this, I feel like the more you listen to them, the more the flaws of Jelly of the Month Club are going to irritate you more than the flaws of Echolalia will.
You know what? You're right. Actually, you're right. Jelly of the Month is number 4, and Echolalia is number 3.
Thank you.
Two Doors...
That's all I wanted.
Two Doors number 2, Weekend Run Club's number 1.
All right. For me, I'm gonna go in reverse order this time. I'm gonna start with my number 1 being Weekend Run Club. Number 2, I'm actually gonna put as Jelly of the Month Club because I could really I probably next time I end up seeing my little cousins who are like 3 and 4, I'll probably show this album to them. Mm-hmm. They'll probably fucking love it, and I'll be the cool cousin or whatever.
Yeah.
You know how it is, and like I enjoy listening to this album. I put it on quite a few times at work, just like kind of jamming out to it. You go into the parts that sound funny. Number 3, I'm gonna put as Two Door Cinema Club, because it just didn't leave as much of an impression as the other ones. And number 4, I'm going to put as Australian Nickelback.
All right, let's go back to ripping the
James, if you ever listen to this, I'm both sorry and not sorry.
Dominic, I build paper boats to sail to yesteryear. I thought you didn't believe in God. I didn't expect you to cheat with Christianity.
What song
We're
is
a
this?
novel with blank pages,
Oh,
paper
God.
birds and small cages. You don't mean anything to me. All you'll ever be is origami.
Oh, God.
I'm not sorry. That's a fucking shit line. At some point in your life, you're gonna have to actually look at what you've written and said, do you actually think that's good, or do you actually think that's pretentious? I don't want to rip on the guy as a person, because I don't know him enough, but I am gonna rip on his writing, and that's shit.
Oh my God.
Hello, Mr. Armstrong. Take me with you. Take me with you. Hello, Mr. Armstrong. Take me with you. Take me with you. Hello, Mr. Armstrong. Take me with you.
Look,
take me with you.
The best.
Because I need to travel 500,000 miles just to prove I would for her, and if I make it back to Earth, maybe this will all be the same again. Hello, Mr. Armstrong, take me with you. Take me with you. Hello, Mr. Armstrong, take me with you. I beg of you.
For the full fucking thing.
And there's two more verses of that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
I think the best line I've seen that they've written here. It comes off "You Stole My Heart," but more importantly, my bagel bites. It's the "I fear spiders, women, and the unknown, but never have I feared just being alone." Now, that's not the worst line that they've done in this. This might actually be the best line that they've written, but it's still bad. Still bad.
It's bad, but like I can relate.
I also relate with the line that goes, "I like men."
Yeah.
And if you think that's gay,
I think that's pretty gay, Dominic.
Then you're a fag. Amen.
Oh, you got me there.
That is literally the lyrics.
Before we get too deep on this, do you guys want to talk about what we're doing next week?
Yeah, because I gotta actually go soon here. So next week, I've chosen.
Next week is 2020s.
As Trix was bagging on their ex, we're gonna go to the artist in Australia, which has managed to come back after a huge public fallout with their ex. That is the Smith Street Band with their new album, "Don't Waste Your Anger."
All right.
I'll go next. I'm choosing a friend of Lorenzo, and I'm going with Surf Rock is Dead. Dead's new album. I forget the title of it, but it's the band Surf Rock is Dead.
Existential Playboy?
Yeah, that's what it is, and it's their debut album, even though they've had like a few EPs.
That's cool. And then because I thought the story about the album was interesting, I don't even like this band, to be clear. I just thought the story of the album was interesting, and I thought it'd be worth covering. I'm doing Huey Lewis and the News' new album, Weather. So that's the second album called Weather that we're covering this year.
But which weather will be better?
I could not even understand that.
But which weather will be better?
That's okay. That's it. That's a decent question. We'll see.
With that has been Dissonant Waves the week. I am Riddle, you can catch me at my website, Riddle for Kids at github.io. You can also catch me on my YouTube channel. I'm actually publishing the singles to the EPs that we're all running here, so yeah, that should probably be out by the time this episode is.
I'm Dominic. You can catch me on stuff. I write some stuff for tiltingwindmillstudios.com. I'm on Twitter at DACICHOCKI. I'm not sure what I'm doing with my EP tracks, if I'm going to put them on YouTube separately or what. It kind of depends on how the recording goes.
Trix, what was the band called again?
Surf Rock is Dead.
Oh, Surf Rock is Dead. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, Dominic had to interrupt so I could get that on my the album's called Existential Playboy.
Yeah,
that's a great title.
Yes.
Yeah. So my website, my Twitter. I don't know where my APs are going. Yeah. You'll probably see some stuff soon though.
Yeah. I've been Trix. You can catch me on Twitter at procrastinaut_. That's procrastinating astronaut, and then an underscore at the end of it. And check me out, because later tonight, like in 15 minutes, I'm going to be getting drunk and live tweeting a watching of Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Hell yeah! And
you can catch. I also have a YouTube channel, Moonchild. I'm probably going to change the name more, but I'm working on bass stuff. And we also have a Twitter account at Dissonant Waves. And we also have a website, dissonantwaves.space.
Okay, Trix, I'm going to need you to do something for us.
What do I need to do?
Count all the fart jokes on Paul Blart Mall Plop.
Okay, I will.
If they add up to more than Jelly of the Month Club, then I'm going to die.
Okay, here's a question for that though. Does the solid 20 to 30 second chunk of farts count as one joke or multiple?
Sorry to rush this question out, but we should probably end the episode.
Yeah.
You can figure it out. Okay. We're gonna get going. All right.
All right.
Bye bye. I'm gonna hit stop record now. 3,
All right.
2, 1. Blop.